I'm joined now by Sky News political editor, Andrew Clennell. Well, Andrew, I spoke about this at the top of the show, this rhetoric sprouted by Labor that opposition leader Peter Dutton somehow dangerous and divisive. They tried it with Tony Abbott too. Polls show, though, that Dutton is strong on the ground, that issues that relate to them. I mentioned cost of living, I mentioned security, not just national security, but real concerns about local security. And when they attack Dutton, they're attacking ordinary Australians that share his concerns. They did this in The Voice. It got them nowhere, and they've gone back to the well.
I'm a bit surprised. I think, Jim Chalmers was around as Wayne Swan's chief of staff when that stuff on Abbott didn't work. So if you're talking about him, you're giving him publicity. Look, Bob Carr was one of the most successful premiers New South Wales has ever had. He made a policy of not talking about the opposition leader at all because he didn't want to give them the airtime. And so that's the danger here. Look, a campaign, different story, right? With your political ads in a campaign, go your hardest, go for your life. I think that's fair. But at this stage, people just want to see you as Treasurer concentrating on the economy. The reason they've done it, their focus groups show that people are using words like nasty, negative and thuggish about Peter Dutton. Well, a lot of people will always say nasty words about all politicians. The danger in you repeating those words of a couple of people in a focus group is if you call him divisive and people agree with one or two positions of his, then the accusation is suddenly aimed at them, and they don't like that. And, this is been one of the secrets of someone like Donald Trump. So it's a bit base. It's not very strategic. They think it's strategic because they think it's playing into this possible sentiment around him, just the same as Dutton and Hastie and co continue to call the PM weak because that's what they hear in the focus groups. But, yeah, I just think they need to stick to some thinking of some pretty positive policy that can help win them an election rather than going this negative this far out.
I think the other problem, though, Andrew, is they put a lot of effort for a number of years into Dutton as a hard man. Then he suddenly becomes the opposition leader and the times suit him. Immigration issues, issues about national security. They then run a line that as Immigration Minister or Home Affairs Minister, he was hopeless, he was weak, he was all of those things. Now, that doesn't stack up when you've built this rhetoric over a number of years that he's tough. So now they've reverted back to tough. I have heard other things, not just that those words get thrown around in focus groups, and that's why they're amplifying them, but also that Dutton is clearly ahead in these areas. So that they're trying to say, OK, you might think he's good on national security, but he's actually really negative, he's really divisive, he's nasty, he's all of these things. So be careful what you wish for in order to pull him back to the pack. So I think this is a multi-pronged approach. I think they're getting desperate. The hysteria now from Jim Chalmers when he's got a lot of economic stuff on his plate, but he can do a whole speech about Peter Dutton. People see this as schoolgrounds
I think it's
they want him focused on the economy.
I think it's backfired, yeah. I don't think it was. And I certainly don't think he's the guy who should be made to do it, or if he wants to do it, doing it. And look, that dog whistle, it probably is his idea because he used the dog whistle term in the parliament. That probably works well with the branch members in Rankin, but it doesn't work that well in the rest of Queensland, I would have thought.
All right, all credit today to the Education Minister, Jason Clare. He's going to wind back the intake of international students next year. He's bringing it down by 20,000. I'd actually like to see it come down more than that. He said, and this is a big admission, that migrants have been using our education system as a backdoor to staying permanently in Australia. If you look at the numbers, in the last 12 months to May this year, there were more than 800,000 international students in Australia. Now, no surprise, the universities are squealing like cut cats. They're not happy about this. Western Sydney Uni Vice-Chancellor George Williams, former constitutional lawyer, he says it could even be unconstitutional. Do you think we'll actually get to see these cuts, or will Labor back down?
No, you'll see them all right. And the government thinks George Williams is wrong about that. And I think George Williams was saying if you don't have a cap for every uni in every state, but they intend to, But I can reveal tonight to you, Peter, the cuts to the Group of 8 in terms of international students and how much they're going to allow regional universities to take more international students, which makes sense if you think about the housing situation in capital cities. So 27% they're going to cut the Group of 8 intake by. How about that? So he made the point that the vocational education is cutting the numbers by 20%. Unis are slightly less or about the same. But where he's going to cut is places like Sydney Uni, which has been controversial because 45 to 50% of their students are now foreign students. Now, I don't think that's what Sydney Uni was set up for, frankly, and these other universities. The top universities, they will have to teach more Australians, people who aren't foreign students. They're getting a 27% cut. That's what I can reveal to you tonight, Peter.
And no surprises too. I mean, when people are going to those universities in the city, they're putting the housing system under pressure. If they're going to a regional university, much less so. I think that's a good move by him. Hey, Green Senator Mehreen Faruqi, she's used a quirk in the way Senate committees work. There was a committee set up to investigate anti-Semitism. The permanent Greens member on that committee is Senator David Shoebridge. Well, she's swapping him out. She's going on the committee. She, of course, wasn't willing back in July to condemn Hamas. Have a listen.
Does Hamas need to be dismantled?
The Palestinians need to decide where they want to go.
So if they choose Hamas, that's okay?
What can I say?
Should it be dismantled?
Hamas is an organisation that exists in the region.
Surely you're able to say whether you'd like to see them gone.
I mean, it's not up to me.
This is a farce, Andrew.
Is she going to wear a keffiyeh to the hearings? I mean, she's Pakistani. She's not Palestinian. I would describe it as inflammatory. But look, the Greens, I mean, they are pretty extreme on this stuff. You know, they had a motion was put up, which Labor, by the Liberals, I think, Labor supported in the Senate, and the Greens got up and said they couldn't support it. That Palestinian rhetoric on war memorial, put on war memorials in Canberra, the motion was to condemn it. They wouldn't support that. So, look, you know, David Shoebridge would be taking a stance which I'm sure others on the committee or those against anti-Semitism wouldn't like as it is. But he would be a little bit more sensible, I think, than Mehreen. That looks like a decision of the leadership. She's the deputy leader. I think it's pretty inflammatory. And I think, it'll certainly lead to a few stories. I think we'll be reporting on that. So I can't see, because she's so one-eyed in terms of the debate, Mehreen. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And I think it might play out in an ugly fashion. I mean, one of the things the government says, which I think is fair enough, is you know, we've got to lower the temperature in terms of this conflict here. Well, this is certainly not doing that, is it?
Not at all. And my suggestion to them would be to remake this order, to put it into this references committee, set it up as a select committee and expressly name each senator on that select committee. You can leave the Greens completely off it if you want, but you would be able to exclude her that way. That'd fix it. I think they can't tolerate her being on that committee because it's designed to, you know, it'll have hearings around the country. She'll invite a pro-Palestinian mob in with her and it'll only make the anti-Semitism problem worse. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for your time.